everyone, and welcome back, my snaily friends. So I have gotten a lot of questions on how I actually clean my nursery tank. First thing I do is I clean out the breeder box. If you haven't seen my video on how I clean a breeder box, pause this video, go watch that one, and then come back. The only difference that I do here when I'm actually cleaning the full tank is I take the breeder box completely out. I get some nice, clean, dechlorinated water that is about the same temperature as the tank. I completely remove the breeder box and place that in the bowl. Most of the baby snails, actually all of the baby snails that were in that breeder box are now in the jar that you can see there. I just like to be safe, and if there are any little baby snails still in the breeder box, they'll be safe. Now that that's out of the way and in a safe spot, I have this cap here that goes on the end of your siphon. And it's very useful if you're very new to cleaning a tank with a lot of babies in it. I find it rather aggravating because the substrate can get stuck in the little holes, and I actually don't use it anymore. What I do is I just call it extreme concentration. Take your time, watch your siphon, and you really only want to have like half suction power. So I tend to, nice claw hand, Lav. I tend to leave the siphon hose kind of clamped a little bit, so it's not even full power most of the time. And if I do suck any baby snails up, I get them about halfway into the siphon tube, and then I release them. You can see I'm picking some up and moving them, picking them up and moving them over, and then I clean underneath them. So you'll see it's kind of monotonous, but I pick them up, half suck them up, move them over, clean underneath them. Pick them up, move them over, half clean underneath them. And then when it's really gross, I can really get it going as long as all the babies have moved out of the way. And then I just suck up as much as I can, being really careful not to try and get any babies down into my bucket. Look at that concentration. It's like concentration level 1 gazillion. I'm telling you, it's a lot of concentration. And it takes a while, which is why this is a time lapse. But it's completely worth it, in my opinion. And the cleaner you have their tank, the better chance of their survival. I must have cut it out of the time lapse, but I do also clean the walls with a sponge or a razor blade. Once I get it down to about this point, I start cleaning filters. The tank has been running for so long that I can do a water change and a gravel vac, clean both of my filters at one time. It never crashes, it doesn't cycle. I'm knocking on wood, but that's usually what I do. I take the sponge filter out, I completely inspect everything that I take out, and I look for baby snails. If there's any tiny baby snails, they go back into the breeder box that is to the side, or they go right back into the tank. And when cleaning the sponge filters and all the filter media from the back filter, I do it in the bucket of dirty water to keep all the beneficial bacteria. What I just added here is Seachem's Equilibrium. I find that it really adds needed minerals to my water column. Everybody's water is different depending on where you live. I've just learned over time that this is very beneficial for me to use. There's really a lot of calcium in the Equilibrium, so I love that. Now that the tank is all clean, I get the breeder box back into the tank, which was holding all my duckweed, and I put the duckweed back in. I try to make sure there aren't any baby snails in there, and then all the ones that were in the jar from the breeder box go right into the tank. If they're big enough, they go right into the tank. Like I said in a previous video, I usually take them out of the breeder box when they're about the size of a smaller pea. I still can't think of the right term for the size that they are, but here's another little tip. If you get algae on your breeder box walls, just grab an old toothbrush and scrape that off. And you can actually leave it in the breeder box with them. It's good for the little baby snails to graze on that algae. So here's just me being weird, and I'm moving things around, and I'm kind of, baby snails like to hang out in the duckweed, so you'll see me sort of flipping with the duckweed a little bit and trying to get the baby snails out so that I can remove some of the duckweed. Duckweed multiplies like rabbits, so it'll be covering the top again soon, I'm sure. And that's really it. It's all about just concentration, taking your time, and then there's just one thing left to do. I think I show it. Yes, I take the bucket. Once I get the water out, I search the bucket for a long time, and I look for baby snails. And this time, actually, when I cleaned the tank for this video, I only had one baby snail in that bucket, so I'd like to pat myself on the back and say I did a good job that water change. And this 5-gallon gets it once a week. So I hope you guys picked something up from this video, if a little, and maybe you just wanted to see how I clean the nursery tank. And there you go. Time, concentration, keep your eye on the siphon, really only half power on that hose, and check everything. Before you dump any water, just check your bucket, check your filter, check the back of your filter, and save as many as you can. Thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Perhaps better than the last video, which depressed everyone. I didn't mean to, but it's a necessary evil we must do. Go watch that one if you haven't seen it. Until next time, take care. Good luck with all your baby snails and cleaning your nursery tank, and we'll see you in the next one. Hug your snails.